Hello YouTube, how you doing today? So my name is Kevin Ezenwa Obizi. As you all know, I'm trying to be consistent, guys. I've been posting daily and sometimes, but I'm hoping I'm consistent. And today we do have Mr. Timothy Webster. He's been on my channel for we made two videos together and we spoke about morality and mostly about relationships and about faith. And today we're going to be discussing about relationship between man and a woman. That's what we'll talk about on here because that's the right relationship. And man and a woman, that's the right relationship from God. So we're going to be discussing about that today, and we have very valuable informations for you guys, and you guys are going to love it. So just sit back, relax, grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your juice, and yeah. So I'm going to let him introduce himself. He has introduced himself multiple times in the video. In the past, you got to go check out the past video. He did introduce himself. I'm going to let him introduce himself to you today, and yeah.
So my name is Tim. I'm going to speak today about the relationship between men and women. And my focus is really going to be why and how we should have men and women from within the church community finding each other and why this is God's intention. So the first question is like, what is God's intention for men and women? In Genesis 2:18 it says, "It is not good for a man to be alone. I will make a suitable helper for him." That is God's original intention. Now, man and woman sinned. And the result of the sin, he said to the woman, "Multiply, and I will multiply your pain in childbirth. And towards your husband you will desire, and he shall rule over you." And it says, well, okay, what does that mean? Does that mean that desire is, physical desire, and it just means despite that physical desire, you're going to have childbirth, and it's that simple? Or does that desire mean, in a more modern interpretation, where some people say, the woman will desire in contrary to the man? And what I'm going to tell you is actually, desire is actually more of the simple desire of the helper role, and the husband being the servant role. And it say, what does it say to rule over him? Because the same way that Jesus, as a servant, he is the God. So God as a servant, Jesus put himself as a servant. So basically, Jesus says that when we serve one another, that's how we don't like traditional Gentile rulers where we rule over other with authority. We serve to basically support. So basically, the man's role in this is his role is to provide strength, and provide a ground, a place for his wife to flourish. This is the man's role when he's to rule over his wife. He is to provide her a place to flourish. And she, as the person who knows him the most intimate of all, can be there to help him, to make him grow, to make him become stronger, to strengthen him. So to even build on his strength. So so it's not that a wife is less than a man, or a man is more than a woman. It's just that a woman needs a place where she can flourish as a mother, and a man needs to serve his wife in love and care. So these are the roles. It's not as harsh as many people think it is. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is my advice for a young man and my advice for a young woman. The first advice I really want to bring out is really that the Bible. I'll talk about the Song of Solomon, because the Bible really does embrace a loving relationship between a man and woman, but we often forget that the Bible does embrace it so much. Like, the Song of Solomon is really a love story between a man and the one he desires, and between the woman and the one she desires. In this love story, which is central to what God's intention is for a man and woman, is that they come together in emotional and in physical love. This is what God intends us to have for each other. It says it is good. It is good to desire. It is good for man to desire when it's and desire in provide desire and admiration, like a longing, beautiful, delightful, and respectful. So a man's desire for women should also be respectful, and a woman, she can also desire. But basically, the most important thing for a young man is not to be ashamed of his desire for a Christian woman. Okay, there's no reason a man should look for a woman outside of the Christian community. The desire for a Christian woman is what God intends. And all he's asking for God is like a little self-control and not be afraid to express that. But at the same time is for a woman, it's not shameful for a woman to desire a man. A woman has a voice. She is to use her voice when she desires a man. She is not to keep it totally suppressed. She's to use her voice to express herself. Her position is to reflect, evaluate, search. A woman is, her longing she feels is not shameful. Her beauty is not merely for human consumption. Her beauty is a natural thing which she is blessed with. Her voice matters. Her judgment matters. But for women, it's also important that a woman fulfills her complete love at the proper time. So we have in marriage the consummation, the completion of marriage through the marital act, basically through intimacy. That creates a bond. See, men and women are biological creatures. A man is a biological animal. We are male and we are female. And there is hormones that God intended us to strengthen us, to bind us together. And a woman should wait to the time when it's proper so that she's bound to the man that she is with as a life partner. If she does this with other men many times over, then that physical bond that she gets through the act will not be there in the same strength if she waited until the man she loves is her partner for life, and when that physical bond becomes through the act is stronger than possible. So a woman bonds in the act because when she has a child, she needs a man to help her flourish. Like a woman with a man to help her flourish will have a flourishing family, and this biologically makes sense. So that desire is very strong. And then when a woman has a child, then she's bonded with the child, because that is extremely important biologically, that a woman bonds with her child, that she absolutely completely loves that child. So these are natural things that is a beautiful thing about a woman. And I wish I could hear a woman to actually speak to that, but this is, so in summary, a man should not be ashamed of his desires. A woman should not be ashamed to voice her desires. A man should, and a woman in the proper time should complete these desires. So this is what God intends. And by doing this, the woman is the helper the man needs, and the man serves the woman to help her flourish, just as Christ, through his service, that Christ teaches us is to be servants if we want to be leaders. Now, the other thing I want to talk about next is what happens. Why? Okay, this is so beautiful. Why do we get so far off this? So in the Bible, it also talks about many more important things, like the seductress, how man is brought to his destruction by the seductress. Now, seductress is not just the man's fault, because there was a seductress. There's the woman's fault as well. And what it's saying is, like, men and women, it's a very, very, very important that a man and woman, when they get married, they continue the bonding process. They don't just bond once at the time of the marriage. They continue the bonding process. There's basically, it talks in the New Testament from Paul and many examples that a man should not withhold sex from his wife, and his wife should not hold sex from her husband. These are our biological nature, that if we do withhold, then our biological nature cannot be denied, and we will desire. So God intends us to desire, the man to desire the wife and the wife to desire the husband. This is part of the process. Now but the thing is, this is what God intends, okay? And if we don't do that, like it talks about like how seductress will bring a man to his destruction. So I hate to say this, but when a woman is acting as a seductress, she has no intention of having this man for her life, but simply there to extract a resource. Then she will extract a resource from this man, and he will get nothing from it. And you say, well, the man is winning. No, he's not. He's not winning. He's providing a resource. She's not winning either. So she's a seductress. She's given himself for the infatuation of the moment. It is not a good relationship. Yes, it may feel good at the moment, but it's not a relationship that's going to provide strength to the man or strength to the woman. Now, and then also the Bible talks about we should not covet other man's wife, etc. These are basically the same things. Like if you are there to seduce another man's wife, then you're just making it hard for her, and then you're creating a conflict and a corruption that this really just should not be. But the thing is, now, is every other religion the same? Is the Judaism the same? Is the Christianity the same as Islam, the same as other religions? The answer is actually no. What are some other religions? Well, Islam states that it's okay actually not okay, when a man has a woman at his right hand, he may have sex for her as his desire. Now, he's not supposed to use her as a prostitute, but seriously, it's his personal versus sharing with other men. Seriously, that's still wrong. Okay. Why is this so wrong? Because this is not going to produce the family which God wants. God wants us to have a family that is strong, not just producing babies. That we have a family that is strong, and that through that strength that we are able to uplift each other, to give each other strength, to give each other support, give each other love. And if you have a woman as a sex slave, whether you took her up as a captive or you bought her in the marketplace, this is not. It is basically. It is corruption of what God's intended is. God gave us desires, a man and woman, to bring us tightly together. A bond which cannot be broken is the words of God. When three come together, when basically a man and woman have a child, that bond is complete. Okay, that is what God intends. Now, if we do something different, it is not what God intends. That is corruption. It's going to cause suffering to everyone who's involved. And I think it's wise just to understand that when we look at other alternatives and we look at the New Age idea that we can have sex at our leisure. Yes, we can have sex at our leisure, but the problem is men and women, if they do that, then really they're cheating themselves out of something better. And now, how's this happen? Like the thing is, we in our current lives, we delay, we put work ahead of everything, we do something else, we put education ahead of everything. I don't think we should do that. I think we should put what God intends first in our lives. If God intends to have a loving relationship, to come together, a man and wife, we can do that. We don't need to wait until after we're done education, after we're done, work and stuff like that. We should put what God intends first. And I think that as a Christian family, we should support young men and young women coming together to form loving families. This is what we should do as Christians, and what we should do. And as a Christians, we are the shining light of the world, of a way that is stronger and produces strength upon. Many pieces of the world we have the single mother. And a single mother is not going to have the strength of a family that if you have a husband and wife together. It's not good for the boys. It's not good for the girls. The boys don't have a person in lives to operate as a good example, and many of the boys from single families, single mother families, are not going to be successful. They're going to be, and then the girls are going to look at men and see that men are just bad, and the truth is that's not true. If a man and woman have a good family, then the children can also have a good family. So when we love our children, it's something that we would naturally do is to, when you love your wife as a husband and a wife loves her husband as a wife, emotionally and physically, then we have a bond that we are helpers to each other. The husband provides strength, provides a safe environment for the wife to flourish. The wife provides a helper. She will help him with things. It doesn't matter whether the wife is making less or making more. That's not the point. She's helping him, and he's providing the best of his ability, a safe environment for her to flourish. And this is what God intends this. And it's better than any alternative the world to create. And every alternative the world to create is not as good as the way that God intends.
So what you're trying to say is, I heard you say something very important, and what you said really touched me. You're saying that as a man and a woman, and if we're like having sex outside of marriage, we're actually cheating ourselves
Yes.
for something better. Like,
Yes.
that is really deep. Guys, did you hear that? Like, all this fornication you see out here, especially here in the city, you see every Saturday, every Sunday, guys outside, women outside all night, women are dressing in the shortest dress as possible, and men are drawn to what we see, and the men, they are all seduced by what she's wearing, and you see a lot of fornication going around. So you're trying to say that lifestyle of fornicating, of getting different girls every night at the nightclub or at the club every night, it means that is like we're actually cheating ourselves, that there's something much better than that, like there's something much greater than that. We're actually cheating ourselves. The word cheating there is it's like a very it's a very serious word right there. So guys, you guys have to listen, and this is serious.
Now I'm gonna make it a little more complicated. The thing is, what happens in this modern world is we tend to delay, because when you are in your 20s, okay, this is in many ways when a woman comes to her late 20s, her sexual desire, because of the maturity and her position in her life, is overwhelming, okay, because her biological clock is ticking, and we're being cruel to ourselves of denying ourselves relationships. So what I'm trying to say is we're cheating ourselves when we should just have a relationship. And we're having sex, but we're not having relationships. So that's what I mean by cheating ourselves. It's like a relationship would mean that to come together, a woman acknowledges her desire and evaluates and then finds someone that she and him want to be together, and they have a relationship. In other words, they become bonded. They become, in the traditional word, married. Because we're not doing that. A woman to get to her 27 years old, and you expect her not to act on her desires, that is almost impossible for her. And it's not any easier for a man. So what I'm saying is, like, rather than taking all the second best, we take second best. Why not take the best in the beginning? Why don't we just, when we're in our 20s and we want it and we have those desires, pursue someone seriously. Don't stop playing around and play for keeps. So when you're in your 20s, when you got a man, you're finding a woman very attractive, the woman find a man very attractive, don't. You're just playing around. You're cheating yourself, and you can play for keeps and have something beautiful together. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so I understand why it happens, because you're spending so long and you're going like, I can't wait any longer. And it's, so why wait? Why just play games? Play for keeps.
And yeah, you're very right. And while you were speaking, you mentioned about communication. You mentioned about, like, as a woman, you should be able to communicate. You mentioned something like that. So, for example, you guys, a man and a woman, they get into a relationship and they just started dating for 1 year, 2 years, and the relationship is going good. And for some reason, something happened, or maybe something happened and they're no longer dating, and the man goes to a different woman, and the man is dating a different woman, and the woman goes to date a different man, and they're also dating, and they break up, and that's how they keep having multiple relationships. So the thing is, since you are in a relationship with a man, your relationship with a woman, what makes you think that, okay, since we broke up right now, then the other person is going to be much better? Like, why can't you communicate? Why can't you talk things through? You speak your mind, what you have in mind, you communicate, and you guys figure out the best option. You guys set boundaries for a much better relationships.
So, okay, you actually covered 2 points there: communication and boundaries relationships. See, the Song of Solomon teaches that love and desire is beautiful. It's a gift of God, actually. But a woman is time, there's a time to wake up to complete that relationship. But completing it before its time is wrong. So a woman, she has a very powerful completion to relationships that a man does not even have. So when a woman completes a relationship sexually, that is something more than what a man can have. And she is, as you would say, tying the knot, literally and physically. And this is, what I mean is, we stop playing around and play for keeps. It's like, you're playing for keeps is like, is this the man I want to spend my life with? It may be, then do it. Okay? Or this is the man I want to spend an afternoon with, then don't. Because now you're tying yourself to a man you want to spend an afternoon with. Is that really your intention? I don't think so. Now, that's from the woman's criticism. Men, particularly good men, simply just are too ashamed to express that they want to have a family. They want to have children. They want to make a baby. And the women may say, this guy's a nice guy, he's a friend, but she doesn't know that this guy wants to have a family, wants to have a baby. Okay? And she doesn't know this, and she thinks, well, this guy's totally not interested in that. I got to find a different guy who's interested in that kind of thing, because that's what I'm interested in, and he's obviously not interested in that thing. So, men, if there's a woman you really like, and you got to the point where you're, like, you don't talk about, you can talk, look, guys are smooth talkers when they need to be. Be a smooth talker you need to be, but play for keeps, is what I'm saying. It's like, guys can be smooth talkers, and I know you can. I myself can be a smooth talker. Just means that be smooth, be respectful with your desires, okay? And tell her that you desire her and you desire the future and what that will produce with her. And let her be part of that. And woman, likewise, you can express your desires as well, but in the proper time, complete them. That's all I'm saying. It's like, yeah.
Okay. So I totally understand what you're saying. So, but as a man, so you're trying to say, as a man, you should communicate clearly what you want. You should communicate to the woman clearly that, hello, I really love you. I would love to make a baby with you. I would love to.
Maybe not quite that direct, but sure.
That's what you said.
I know I said okay, but you have to be. You have to know the woman for a while before you just can't walk up the street and a woman on the street say, "Hey, I like you. Let's make a baby."
Okay, you have to get to. So how long?
How long? Okay, this is pretty much. The woman will give you the man and woman together. There's going to be hand holding. There's going to be physical touch. When a woman feels comfortable with you, okay, with the man, and that's what a man has to do. A man, and this is a man's place, is to provide the woman a place where she can flourish. So when a man provides a place where the woman is comfortable, okay, and when she is comfortable, then you can talk about. I'm thinking I would like to have a baby at some point in my life. I would like to have a family, and this is what I think the family would like to have. What's your thoughts on a family? What you think a family should be like? Stuff like that.
Okay.
Talk about it, and of course she knows about her, and you knows about it. Vice versa. But it gives you, it gives them a little bit of leeway to say, oh, you know what, but but this is after, of course, you're comfortable. She's comfortable with you. You're clearly that she's spending time with you. She's kind of like, she's your girl, more or less. Even if she's not exactly your girl because she spends time with other guys, but she's kind of like close enough to being your girl, then tell her that, look, I'm thinking of having a family. Just make sure you don't say it directly to her, because then you say, look, oh, he could be referring to anyone, or he could be referring to me. Okay? So when I say it's like a man expresses desires, there's nothing wrong with a man in an abstract sense saying, hey, I would like to have a family, without referring to any girl in the room. Saying you could have a church gathering of young people and saying, men, what do you think you want for a family? Would you, do you want a family? And talk about, and it's like, yes, I want a family. And then, okay, what would you think this like? Talk about these things. Even as a group setting, the men are more comfortable with having a family. See, right now, many men do not know how to talk about these things. How to even, men are even worse than women when it comes to just acknowledging the fact that we are biological creatures and that we will have a family someday, hopefully. Okay, that's what I mean. Be a little smooth about it, but also understand that, when it comes to sexual desire, there's no greater sexual desire than to make a family. And that's just how it is. And that's the way nature intends it to be, and that's how God intends it to be.
Okay, so are you trying to say that when it comes to marriage, men are like the gatekeeper?
Gatekeeper? No, I wouldn't say men are the gatekeeper any more than women are the gatekeeper. What do you mean by that?
So are you trying to say if a man is verbally open, if a man is communicative, and the man can say, oh, I would love to have a family with you, directly to the lady, do you think it's rests on the man's shoulders? Do you think if a man communicates that, then it's great to go? Or do you think a woman also have a role to play?
Well, it's a mutual role. Like, if you read, okay, go read through the Song of Solomon. It's progressive. Okay, it's 50-50. It's 50-50. It's progressive. Like, they express a desire. He expresses desire. She expresses desire. She's looking for him. She can't find him. She's lovesick for him. He expresses desire. She has that reinforced, and then she expresses desire for him. It goes back and forth, and then finally you go like, we really, really want to do it together. We want to be us. We want to be together. And then in her time, she awakens her desire. Okay? In time, she awakens it. And then when she awakens it, she completes it. But it's a progressive thing. It's like the Song of Solomon is like, if you're going to do a Bible study, actually going through that and seeing how it progresses, it's because, these things are progressive. Okay. Well, I guess back to your question is, who's the gatekeeper? The woman, in many ways, is more the gatekeeper than the man. Mm-hmm. Okay. The woman, the man can express, like, I want to have a family, and a woman will go, I want to have a family with you. Okay. It's more like what's going to happen versus the other way around. But it can happen the other way too. But women have a voice. Women should use their voice. And if they want to, and this is why we want to have Christian men and women coming together to form Christian families. We don't want this. We do not want Christian men to look outside the Christian family, or the Christian community, I should say, to find non-Christian women, and Christian women to look outside to find non-Christian men.
Why?
Well, why? Why would you? Because if you got the Christian men and Christian women together, and they're both looking outward, why don't you just find each other?
So what if the Christian man meets someone who's an atheist and brings the atheist to the faith?
That's fine. But I'm saying, I'm not saying that this is a very good point, and I'll tell you why it's a very good point. A Christian woman, she should, if there is a Christian man available, she should look there. But if she finds a non-Christian man, and that non-Christian man comes to the faith, there's no problem. Yeah. Likewise, if the Christian man, he's a Christian woman around, but he finds someone outside who's attractive, and he brings her to the Christian faith, that's fine. But I'm saying is, what's not okay is all the Christian women look outside. They don't even consider the Christian men. They're off the table. And the same thing with the Christian men. They don't look at the Christian women. They're off the table. So if they're off the table, then that means that there's no reason for young women to come together in the Christian community because, well, Christian women are off the table for Christian men, and Christian men are off the table for Christian women. They need to be at least a possibility. So they can be part of the Christian family, like part of the Christian community. I'm just saying that it doesn't mean that you can't find someone outside, the Christian community, but it shouldn't be that you have to find someone outside the Christian community.
Oh, how do you know? Is there like a statistics? How do you know that all Christian women look outside and all Christian men outside?
I'm not saying that all Christian women look outside the Christian community and all Christian men look outside the Christian women for women. But what I am saying is by being more open in desires that men and women can come together into the Christian community and find each other, and it does several things. By finding each other within the Christian community, they understands what God's intention is. That it is not good for man to be alone; he needs a helper, and a woman needs someone to provide her a place to flourish. Mm-hmm. Okay, inside the Christian community, men and women understand that, and they're going to be a better relationship than outside the Christian community, and then they go like, oh, I don't know where I'm going, how do I get this figured out? And then they afterwards got into the Christian community. It'd be easier for them to be inside the Christian community first, okay? And then, forming the relationships. It's just that, so what I'm trying to say is like, the Christian community is an opportunity to have relationships, not a barrier to relationships.
Okay. So I totally understand what you're saying. So it's much better, it's more beneficial to look in the Christian community because you guys, we do have the same morals, we do have the same values. So the relationship it's much easier and much better when it comes to bonding. Also, there's also something you said, and it's got me curious. You said, as a woman, you said when a woman gets emotionally attached and physical, you said there's a bonding that occurs. You said something like if she's having multiple partners, that bond, the bond loses its power. You said something like that.
Yes, that's a statistical. Okay, so what Kevin just mentioned is if a woman bonds multiple times physically, okay, that bond loses strength over time. That is a documented measure. I haven't got the statistics with me, I haven't got the paper with me, but that has been documented that a woman who bonds many times, she does not have that same strength of bond than the one that bonds very few times or once. The once obviously the strongest, and very few times is strong, but many times is obviously weak. And the thing is, what's going to happen is one thing that to keep men and women together is like if we're drawing fantasizing or drawing comparisons, then there's more consideration to finding someone else outside. So when you don't respect wife does not respect the husband, or the husband finds the wife too annoying or whatever, then they might say, well, I want you better with someone else because I had other relationships and the short-term relationship was great. And the problem is, sure, it was great in the short-term relationship, but the short-term relationship may not necessarily like to reflect the long-term relationship. But the fact is, women, and this is a biological thing. I wish I was a woman. It would have more authority in my words, but it's a biologically documented thing because of the oxytocin. Women bond. Okay, they physically bond, but if they bond many, many, many times, the strength of that bond does weaken.
Whoa, so that is like really deep. So, so what you're trying to say is stay a virgin until you find the right one, and when you find the right one, be open-minded, communicate, have a great communication skills, and you guys to share your beliefs, share your desires, and make things work, and stick with that one partner. That's totally the remedy for that, because what you're saying is if you're having multiple partners, then that bonding gets weakened. So that means you can be actually dating your husband, and you end things up pretty quickly because of you've had a couple relationship in the past and it was short time and everything, and just a little bit of a red flag, and you're like, oh, I'm moving to the next, and you never know if that's your real husband right there, because that bond's actually weakened is because you have been in multiple relationships. So like this is really serious, and this is really deep.
Yeah, I mean, there's an example where Jesus talks about the woman at the well, and he says, "Bring your husband." And he says, "I don't have." I mean, basically, she doesn't have a husband. She has so many husbands, she doesn't have a husband. Okay, this is the reality. It's unfortunate, but it is reality. But the thing is, though, it doesn't mean like all this abstinence and stuff like that. It's not what I'm trying to say. It's not we should teach abstinence. It's like you're gonna play for keeps. Don't play around. Don't cheat yourself. Play for keeps. It's okay for men to have desires. In fact, it's God's intended. Song of Solomon. Women have desires. God's intended. Song of Solomon. Play for keeps. You have a beautiful life. Play around, you're cheating yourself from having a better life. You're not have the full beauty that you could have.
So play for keeps. That play for keeps, what does that mean? Like play to keep the partner? That's what it means?
Play for keeps basically means, well, women actually play for keeps usually pretty well, actually. Men don't think of it as much, but they should. Play for keeps basically means that when you're playing for that person, you're playing to keep that person. Not just to have them tonight, but to have them every night from every day in the future.
So you say women play for keeps?
Instinctively they do, yes. But when they play around a bit too much, they're not, in the beginning, it's instinctive to women, yes. But if they bond too many times, then they're not going to play for keeps the same way. But the idea is the person I have today is the person I have tomorrow and every other day in the future. That's what I mean playing for keeps. Like when you make that bond, okay, it's something that it's now becomes that comfort that you always have and you always will have, and as opposed to saying I'm having the bond and I'll just throw it away. If you playing around basically means taking something valuable and then throwing it in the trash. Playing for keeps, you find something valuable and you cherish it and you hold on to it. That's what I mean the difference is. Playing for keeps is like you find something valuable. So obviously, if you're playing for something valuable, take your time. Is it valuable? Is it worth hanging on to? And if it is, good. play for it, hang on to it. Not just play around, right? Going to pick it up and throw it in the trash. That's playing around. And the thing is, you're going to throw out a lot of good things in the process, and you don't know because you were never playing the keeps.
Okay, so your message actually for today is for everyone to be intentional.
To be intentional, wow. To take relationships seriously as God intended to take relationships seriously. Okay? That's the first message. Take relationships very, very seriously. God intends to take relationships very seriously. Men, provide the comfort the woman needs. Okay? Women, be the helper the man needs. Okay? And you don't have to wait forever to have a relationship. Like I wish I could wave a magic wand and change the education system, but waiting till you're like 30 for a woman, or even till you're 30 for a man, is going to make it just like the Bible said. Is like if you a man, like in Paul is saying that a man and woman need each other, but if they deny each other, then they're going to be tempted. Basically, what happens is if you deny each other, a man denies himself a wife, and a wife denies herself a man or husband. They're going to find some way to fill this need, but it's not going to be what God intended. So I'm saying is, I wish I could make it easier for men and women to not have to wait so long that they can, to their point that they just cannot resist what the natural needs and desires are. We should be more open to earlier marriages, because if you find someone that you want to be with you want to keep them for the rest of your life, don't force that woman to throw them away because she needs to take another school, or throw the man to have her throwing that woman away. Allow them to be together so they can be a couple. Okay? Yes, it makes things complicated, but it's better than taking and throwing away, and then get to the point in your life and go, well, I want to keep something. Well, you've thrown everything away. How can you keep something now?
Oh yeah, you can keep because so you said we should be open to early marriage. So what's the valid age? What is the valid age for marriage? Is there like what is the valid age to get married? Because you say get married earlier. 18 years of age is valid?
Sure, 18 years of age is valid, yes.
Okay.
But the thing is, obviously, the man and women need to be mature, okay? And, it might be the end. It might be after you graduate from university at 24, perfectly good age. Could be, 24 might be a very good age to get married. But waiting till you're 30 for a woman or for a man, that may be too long, okay? Particularly for women, it might be too long. Because her biological, she'll be in hyper overdrive. And 20s, I think, is good.
20s, ladies out there, you're hearing, if you're 20 or you're reaching 20, you should take your relationship serious.
20s, because this is what was kind of like generations back. A woman getting married around 24 was kind of normal.
Yeah, women get married at 19.
Yeah, 19 was normal too. But the thing is, women getting married at 30 wasn't normal.
Right?
No, it's not normal. And it's hard. It's really hard for a woman to hold. If you want a woman to hold on until she's 30, and you're making her life hell, and not making the guy's life any easier either, because they're both wanting to commit into a relationship. They're both denying themselves what they really God wants them to have, and they're both denying it, and then they push each other away, and then they why they don't have each other, because they denied themselves what God intended them to have. So why do we be so hard on ourselves when God did not intend us to be hard on ourselves?
Right?
Yeah. How to do it? I mean, the education system is a challenge right now because once you enter university, you're pretty much stuck until you get, until you complete undergrad. But maybe after undergrad, before you do a PhD, right, that's an opportunity. But if you get married in undergrad, fine. Now, we'd have to change the education system so that, a woman in her 20s, married to a man, could have a child and still complete the education system. It could be done. We'd have to change the education system slightly, but it's completely possible. In the current system, it's extremely difficult, and I don't think we should make it difficult.
So I do have a question.
Sure.
So if a lady is trying to find her suitable partner,
Okay.
should she pick her partner based on how her partner treats her, based on how should, should she choose her partner based on feelings, based on emotions, or she should choose her partner based on what?
Gee, that's a hard question. I'm sorry, because it's a multifaceted question. Um, a man or a woman should not deny their feelings, because if someone makes you feel uncomfortable, there may be a reason why you don't feel uncomfortable. If a woman feels comfortable with a man because the man is providing her comfort, he's taking care of her, he's not overstressed and things like that, and she feels comfortable. That is normal. But the man, for some reason, is overstressed. Then you've got two things. Well, don't get overstressed. It's not the end of the world. And that's feelings. And of course, there's that feeling. And then there's, of course, what I call the physical lust. My answer to that is what happens is so many good men are afraid to express the fact that they are men too, that women tend to chase the bad men who are just, they don't care about expressing things which are taboo. And this is what they call the good boy, the bad boy phenomenon. It's like the bad boys express a taboo and the girls go, oh, that's what I want. Okay. And the good boys don't express themselves, and the girls think they don't want what I want. And they say, well, why am I talking about these sexual things? Because God actually intended us to desire each other, but step by step by step. I mean, of course, within, like these is totally natural desires, but it's a matter of pursuing them appropriately. Men, good men can express desires respectfully, okay, with charm, gentlemanship, like charming gentlemen. Women, express your desires appropriately as well. And good women and good men can come together. You don't need bad boys.
Right. The main thing, like what I was saying is, like, for example, a woman, she meets a man who buys her whatever she wants, and she's feeling good whenever she's around him. Should she choose her partner based on how she gets treated or how he spends over her, or she should choose a partner based on maybe his morals, his values, his lifestyle,
okay.
or what he believes in? He believes in God, or he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink. Should she are there like things she has to look out for to choose a husband, or she should base it on how she feels? Oh, I'm feeling good around this man, I'm going to be feeling good whenever I'm in his presence. Because I think most women have that problem.
Let's rephrase that. A woman, just like a man, should play for keeps. They should not just think about what it's going to feel like today, how it's going to feel like in the future. Like, if you choose a man to smoke, do I really want a man that smells like that? Yes, he may be the handsome, guy right now who's giving me what I want. But, what I'm saying, I'm trying to be more blunt about this, is good men and good women should not be afraid to desire good men and good women, okay? And the fact that there is a certain what I call see a woman needs to decide whether this man is going to be her husband or is going to be a friend. And if this person is going to be a friend, then that is a completely different relationship than a person is going to be your husband. A husband is going to be someone she's a life partner with, she's going to have children with, and having children with is completely different than someone you're going to, work on doing a project with. And of course, a woman's going to take that into consideration in how she feels. Like, is that person going to be the person who's going to be someone to have children with? That's going to be a different desire completely. Desiring to have children with someone is completely different than someone who's going to help you do a project. So, of course, a woman is going to bear that in consideration. She cannot avoid it because they're different people to her. Okay?
Because now the child is involved. Is this going to be a good man to my children?
It's going to be a good man to my children. Does this man want to have children with me? That's actually important too. Is this man going to be good for children? And does this man want to have children with me? That's actually very important because a woman cannot force a man to have a child with her. That man has to desire to have a child with her. So that's important. So what I'm saying is things need to go step by step. You don't just tonight, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to get married. Take time to really, like the Song of Solomon, that relationship needs time to develop. Take time to, yes, you cherish each other. Yes, you're actually in the process of learning, not just taking time to know each other, but learning to understand what each other's needs are so you can fill those needs. And it may be that the man cannot fill her needs or she cannot fill his needs. Like maybe she has, has a certain thing that she wants that he cannot provide. And that's okay. Or maybe she has a certain trust factor. She simply cannot trust him in a certain way. And then he's not trusted. Then it's best that they figure this out and they go their separate ways before and without bonding. Okay? But it's a thing is these things take time, and it's just that I'm trying to say is like a good man and a good woman should be open to these things. They should be open to desiring to have children together. So they don't choose, the women are not choosing bad boys. They can choose good boys, good men who desire to have children just as much as anybody else does.
So like, when you say these things take time, like what is time? Like 1 month or 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Because you say it takes time. So what do you mean it takes time? Like what is the time? Like how long? 1 month? 2 months?
I don't know, but it's going to be more than 1 month for sure.
Like roughly 6 months, 5 months.
You know what? I don't know. Okay, it's. I think 6 months could be enough. I don't know. But I don't. 1 month is definitely not enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because everyone just wants relationship now. Just want to figure everything right now. Today we met. Today we're going on the dates. Right, we're sitting right across the table. We're having a meal. Like I want to figure out if you're gonna be my husband right away. Like they want to figure it out the same night.
I don't know. I'm going to say 6 months is a reasonable number. It could be longer. It could be a couple of years. It could be longer even that. But it's a matter of
depending on how they see each other and how they talk to each other, right?
There's a lot of factors. There could be things that they want to be together that keep them apart and stuff like that, which make the relationship last longer. It could be that, like a lot of times I think, like I'm not an expert in this. Okay, I'm speaking purely as a.
He's an expert. He has a wife. He got kids, and he's definitely an expert because he has experience. He's living the life right now.
But anybody's not an expert because I can only speak to my relationship. I cannot speak to someone else's relationship. Okay, I can only speak on a personal level. I cannot speak on a broad term. Okay, but on a personal level, my wife and I, it took probably 2 or 3 months, or a month or so. But we kind of knew in the first month that we were very compatible, okay? And after about 2 or 3 months that there was the kind of it's like we're compatible in the first month. It took like 2 or 3 months to kind of like show their commitment, and I'm not sure if it was 6 months or whatever. Like that commitment was like, okay, I'm willing to put the effort in, and she's willing to put the effort in. So it kind of like I would more measure it as stages than I would dates. But the thing is, interest that can happen fairly quickly, and then willing to put the effort in. And put the effort in is you have to be with that person long enough that that it's not always easy. That you will put the effort in to make it work, and I think that will take some time. You can't just put the effort in for 1 month and say I put the effort in. That's not a demonstration of real effort. So maybe 6 months. I don't know. It maybe a year, maybe 2 years. I don't know.
So putting the effort in, it's gotta be like consistent every day. Yeah, that's what. That's
Well,
what it is.
I mean, every day is great. When we had our relationship,
That's how it should be that way.
it should. It's. We didn't meet every day. We met like 5 days a week. Okay.
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 That's good effort. 5 days in a week. is
Yeah.
good
So we're
effort.
not meeting every day, and there were some days we wouldn't meet and stuff like that.
And then was it phones, telephones, and was it internet?
I don't want to talk about my personal relationship, but yes,
Oh, there was internet.
but I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, so nowadays in the modern age now, there's
So-
so many ways.
So let me put it this way: regardless how much time we spent together, electronically, the relationship still has to work when you meet. There have to be a compatibility. There has to be a commitment. When you're around that person physically, because that person has to be real, genuine. Because honestly, on the internet, you can be a different persona quite easily. So there needs to be a time where the people are together to see, and it needs to be in a situation where it shouldn't be. It could be this blunt. It shouldn't be like they're meeting to have sex. They should be meeting to meet, and then after they get to know each other, and then when it becomes time of a commitment, then that is the proper time. But not just meet to have sex. Like that is not, because they don't have that time to really commit. I mean, you have to commit to each other at a real physical level, like when you're actually seeing each other. This is what this person's like when I'm around them. This is like you're spending 24 hours a day. Well, not 24 hours a day, at least 8 hours a day, depending where you sleep and where you work, with that person for the rest of your life. You better be at least like that person to be around that person. And I think that's a very important part. Like, I don't think I'm speaking maybe a traditional person, but I don't think you can do that without some physical time together. Okay?
Okay, yeah, sounds great. So, guys, this is a wonderful video right here, and I hosted Mr. Tim on the other 2 videos that we made, and you guys got to check out the videos. We spoke about very important informations, and it's gonna be so much helpful for you as long as you sit back, relax, and have a snack and watch it. You're gonna pick out so many valuable informations that's gonna be beneficial for you and gonna be good for you. And hopefully we can host Mr. Tim often, so we can make videos for you guys. And I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful to have you guys watching me, and I love you so much, and I wish you peace and blessings to you guys, and like and subscribe. Thank you guys for the 10,000 subscribers, and we are officially on the road to 1 billion subscribers. So hit the subscribe button, and let's get to 1 billion subscribers. Peace and blessings. I love you all.